5 card shows in 6 weeks. Was it worth it? Let's find out in this video. What's up YouTube? My name's Ethan and I'm with the Legendary Collection. I'm a newish vendor, definitely still a small vendor, and I am currently in the middle of the longest stint of vending I've ever done. I've recently done a show called Top Notch Tulsa, took a week break. Then I did 10 Point Collectibles card show in Broken Arrow. Then I did TokyoCon, which was like a Japanese convention, which had like a lot of interesting stuff. And then just this last weekend, I did a mainly sports card show called GG2 out in Broken Arrow as well. And then this weekend, I have the Glenpool card show hosted by Battle Penguin. I have a video dedicated to Top Notch Tulsa and 10 Points Collectibles. I don't have one dedicated to the TokyoCon, but I'm just going to sprinkle in some footage from that one in this video. But mainly the video footage from today is going to be for GG2 that just happened. And then we're just going to talk a little bit about, was this stint of shows worth it? I mean, this is a look at full-time vending and how it would actually look and operate. Yeah, I've been pretty stoked. We got something pretty cool. So vending has definitely been pretty awesome lately, and so I'm really excited to show you guys some of the footage from GG2. First time vending GG2, got really lucky. A table came open at the last second, and I've been on the wait list for GG2 for a while, but sometimes it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. And I actually knew the person that wasn't able to do the show, and so they reached out to me directly and said, will you buy these tables off me? I was like, heck yeah. I've been wanting to do GG2 for a while, so I'm glad it worked out that way, or else I probably just wouldn't have been able to get into the show for a while. So we've talked about that, how a lot of shows have to be very picky because there's a long wait list, and so not everyone gets in. Not that I think my stuff shouldn't be at the show, like I should be picked over. It's just there literally is so many people that want to get in on the show, because shows are really great buying opportunity, which is what I'm learning, and we'll talk some more about that later too. Anyways, here's footage from GG2 and TokyoCon. All right, we've been open for like 2 hours. And believe it or not, it looks like thin right now, but we've actually had some steady business at the table. Apparently solidifying a deal right now, but here's our setup. All of our sealeds finally set up. Here's my case preview. Got consignment in this section, and all of these are mine. So if you guys ever need help selling your cards, reach out. Just some consignment. Let's take a look at Brantley's. It's all said and done. This is what we're working with. Yeah, so far it's been a pretty fun day. This is the room that we're setting up in. We're setting up over there. This room's gonna have tons of stuff. Free to play tables. A lot of different game setups. It's gonna be pretty legit. Various game stores setting up in here, all specializing in different things like Magic, Warhammer, Star Wars, tabletop, card games. And then we got our table over here, Card Vibes, setting up with our sealed product. We got D over here laying out some singles. What's up with? We got I call this the main character box. Every main character you can think of is in here.
We're working on it. Where's that side at?
We got our illustration binder, always super popular. We got every illustration you can think of in here. We got the easier EX and V binders, smaller stuff, and we're gonna stack all of this out. So it's gonna be a pretty crazy show. Some of the cooler stuff. Pretty awesome. All right, we have Caden and Megan here picking up our Arceus V, Hattering VMAX, and Kilowatcho for $15.
Thanks
awesome.
so much.
Yeah, y'all enjoy. Have a good show.
Thank you guys.
Bye. All right, here we are at Tokyo OK, and we have Gabby with one of our first purchases of the day. She's getting Kyogre, Wild Bloom, Snom, Ethan Soho, another Kyogre, and Erica's Vibe Bloom, all for $50. Enjoy your cards. Thanks for buying from us. Have a good rest of your day. Bye. All right, we have Lilith here. She's going to be buying our Mega Fable EX tin for $29. Thanks, Lilith. Enjoy your tin. Yep. All right, recap of day 2. Been here. It's like 11:30. Got here around 10. Hall is empty. Stuff is all packed up. Got my wagon. About to head up to the car. Recap though. I mean, about the same pace as yesterday. Maybe a little bit more steady. A lot of people came in from yesterday with their collections that were like, oh, there's Pokemon people here. So they were able to come in and do some trades. So we had a little bit more traction because of the pushing that we did yesterday of like, hey, bring your collection, bring your collection. And I think we're going to have even more tomorrow. But it's truly just not the same traffic as a normal card show, I would say. But that being said, still made some sales, made some good trades. Made my table cost back on the first day and made enough for my next show on today. So all that being said, we're doing okay. But I would love something like big to happen tomorrow, you know. But beggars can't be choosers. Just happy to be here. That's a recap of day 2. We'll come back at 1 p.m. tomorrow, then for 3 hours and see how it goes. Later. All right, editor Ethan from the future, working on this video literally right now, and I just wanted to throw out there that TokyoCon was just like super. I have more footage of it. There's just like, I don't know, it wasn't enough substance to make anything happen. There was like, the vibe was great and everyone was awesome, but it did feel weird asking people to like video them when they're in like this dress up the cosplay element. So that was like just a weird thing, but tons of footage. The vibe was great. The day was slow. It was a very slow show. We were supposed to be the only Pokemon vendors in the building, and then like later on in the weekend we would find out that there's like people selling packs downstairs, which was like, again, just not what we signed up for. And also like the room we were in was a really great room for this concept of every tabletop game is going to be in this room, but we're like the furthest room away from everything. So it's like people really had to like know that that's the room to go into. So I feel like there was just in general not a couple things that just made it not as optimal as it could have been. Like we probably should have been down in the vendor floor, not in the tabletop game floor, or had like a table in each section, and it could have been a lot better. But so yeah, my experience of TokyoCon's like meh, would probably try again, I guess. I don't know, we'll see. Anyways, not a GG2 footage. Morning YouTube, we are on our way to GG2 out in Stony Creek, Broken Arrow. Stony Creek Convention is the one that also we've been in for 10 Point, and it's a nice venue. But I just found out like we are actually in the exact same spot that we were for 10 Point. So fingers crossed. That was a fluke. The last show was not my best experience at 10 Point. I've only had like 3 or 4 10 Point shows, so it's like, it definitely wasn't like a bad show. It was just like, man, something about this show is like much slower. So I'm hoping it's not the spot. I'm hoping that was just a fluke weekend. Not every show could get knocked out of the park. I definitely understand that. Don't have that kind of expectations. But coming off that 10 Point directly into TokyoCon last weekend, which was also kind of a flop for me, and going into this one, 3 bad show, or sorry, they weren't bad throws, but a bad show. 3 shows without a ton of growth in a row would be tragic. So hopefully this one is gonna do all right. But it is 4th of July weekend, so I don't have my expectations too high either. So I think I've realized this. So I'm gonna go into the show with some different goals than just grow by 10%, which is like my minimal goal at each show is grow by 10%, because I haven't had anything selling really lately very much, not even on like my Facebook posts or anything like that. I don't have a lot of cash, so I can't do a lot of buying, which will mean growth is already really hard. And if I'm already worried about attendance anyways, I'm gonna need to set goals for the day that have nothing to do with the attendance. Okay, so here's what we're going to establish. 1, I have new inventory this week that are acrylic ETB cases. I have 5 of them. I bought 5 of them as like a little tester to see if I can move all 5 in one show. If I can move all 5 in one show, then I'm gonna get 5 more. on the next order and try to move 10. This is going to be like a new little side hustle that I have, is getting people really good quality acrylic cases for way cheaper than like what GameStop will charge. I think GameStop's charging like 45 for them or something like that. As the last time I saw them, that's what they were. And these are incredibly strong magnet, UV protected, like just the real deal, like 1/4 inch thick. I don't know if they're 1/4 inch, they feel like a 1/4 inch, but the heavy duty acrylic cases, I want to sell all those today. Even if it's to other vendors, it doesn't necessarily have to be to, because like everyone needs them, vendors and collectors alike. So I want to sell all those. That's my first goal. Second goal, I want to try to tell 5 new people about my show coming up. By the way, I'm hosting a charity card show in October 17th. Spots are going fast. I'm super stoked. We just put out a Facebook ad for it. It's going to be the real deal. But I want to tell 5 new people about it and try to get them to follow the Facebook page. So that's 2 goals. Sell all my acrylics and get people to my Facebook page. So I think those are challenging enough that have nothing to do with the attendance, but I like that. Now, cool things that would happen if people actually do pack the house. Like, this is my first time bidding by myself, so I'm going to really, I'm a little anxious about it, a little nervous about it, but it'll really show like what I can do by myself at the table. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes. But we're about to hit our exit to get off, so I'll get another video once I'm getting all set up. All right, later. Okay, here we are set up with our sign. This is still a banner printer that I've just been printing off and putting on top of a bigger sign. I still need to stay up and get a legit one. Definitely on the to-do list. Here's a sneak preview of the cards we had. Moved a lot of these weekend. I was happy to be able to fill out the majority of my main case with my own cards, and I still have some room. By the end of this weekend, this thing would be filled to the brim. I picked up a lot of cards, which is great. Moved all of these slabs by the end of the weekend, sold a lot of the pieces of consignment. In this case, I'm not sure what to do with it when I'm by myself. I just don't have enough. But here we are in the back corner of the Stony Creek Convention. All right, got a cool deal happening today. So Cooper, my buddy Cooper, is taking off this Mewtwo tag team off our hands for something pretty awesome. I'm feeling really lucky. This has been a PC goal of mine, is to have an Evolving Skies ETB with the Jolteon on it. So Cooper's hooking us up. Let me show you guys what we got going on. So Cooper's actually giving us a great deal on these Evo Skies box. We're trading in the Mewtwo to him with $100, and then we're gonna try to get 140 by the end of the day to give him cash, or give him 140 cash app in on that. So that's our deal. Thanks, Cooper. Appreciate you, man. So through conversations with other vendors, I'm always asking people questions, always trying to figure out what they know and what I can implement into my own business. And one of the ones I like asking, just because I've found out that it's really hard to answer, is if any vendors remember the first card they sold and for how much. Here's some clips from some of the vendors at GG2 trying to answer that question. It's kind of funny. And yeah, so shout out everyone who's in the show. I'll try to throw up their info for how to reach out and connect to them. If you know them from the show, give them a shout out in the comments. But yeah, so here's that little skit. I think it's funny, so check it out. All right, Vang, what is the first card you ever sold at a card show, and how much?
You know, I honestly don't remember.
What was the last card you sold?
I sold a Monkey Dory.
How much?
40.
Nice, cool. Yeah. Thanks, Vang.
Yep.
All right, Cooper, what is the first card that you ever sold at a card show?
Honestly, it's been too long for me to remember.
And what about the last card, and how much for?
I couldn't tell you that one either.
That's great. All right, Devin. So, what is the first card you ever sold, and for how much?
First card I ever sold, I think, was a Lily's Clefairy from Journey Together for like $180.
Wow.
Now it's like nothing. So
Wow.
that's great. And then what else did you say?
The last card you ever sold.
Last card I sold
today with an empty case. What was the last card you sold?
Last card, it was a Team Rocket's Dark Houndoom PSA 10 dispenser for $2,000.
Dang, big time. Nice. All right, thanks, Devin.
All right, man, appreciate it.
All right, we got King Pools. King Pools, do you remember the first card you ever sold?
I do. It was actually around a year ago, around this time when I first went full-time vending, and it was a Stufful around there, probably later on in 2025. And then once we sold it, I just started collecting them. And then every time one comes to the table, I have that person sign it and date it of the day we took it in.
That's actually sick. That's actually sick.
Got a whole binder full now.
Awesome, dude. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Okay, here's the conclusion. I don't normally, this is like a little bit longer of a conclusion because again, we're just talking through some things like what's it been like vending and really taking every opportunity to vend, including 5 out of the last 6 of my weekends. What does that really mean? And has it been worth it? And what have I learned along the way? First of all, it is what that means is I have had to choose vending over different things so far. And I watch a guy on YouTube called Jar Chomp Collectibles. Him and Oyama, they have this expression: all the easy ways of making money are really hard. And it's because like this really easy setup of buying and taking in trades 70 to 85%, whatever that margin is, and selling at anywhere from 90 to 100. I mean, that's math. It just means you should be making money. That's easy. You don't need to be really good at anything to make this happen. But what you do have to be prepared to do is sacrifice a lot of time. And that's where I think this expression is really true, is that there is a lot of time involved. And I've seen that over the last like 6 weeks. Now, has it been worth it? So far, absolutely. I'm very blessed and honored to have a wife that has been very understanding that I'm going to take as many shows as I can to get as big as I can, as quickly as I can. Well, I say big, as appropriately sized as for my current goal that would help me to be able to alleviate other things in this process. There's certain milestones that you can get to that make part of this hustle not as optimal anymore, and I want to get to that point. I want to get to a point where I don't have to grow anymore, because whatever I'm bringing to the show, whenever that sells, that's how I pay myself, and like I'm fine with a cap being reached through that. So she understands that, she sees the vision, she sees the goal that I'm trying to get to, where I get to this number that I'm trying to, still haven't nailed down what that number is. That's the big problem, but nail down the number. How big do I need to get to where it's all of a sudden I can start paying myself instead of focusing on growth? That's the goal. That's the goal here. I want to start paying myself by doing this thing and alleviating other financial responsibilities that I have, because I get to do it for fun through vending. That's really my goal here. I mean, I want to do something fun for a living, to be honest, if we're being, and so whenever these shows come up, all of them have been fun opportunities to make money in a really unique way. And I've been growing my collection along the way. I mean, like, there's just like really awesome opportunities that could not have happened if I wasn't vending. So it absolutely is worth it. It absolutely is worth the time, especially if you're in a position like I am, and you have a significant other that is just fully understanding of the grind and the hustle and what it's going to take. And so shout out Lydia, I love you, you're awesome. And yeah, that's just some of my thoughts about all this. And so I'll have another video posted next week about the Glenpool recap, and I hope that's going to be an awesome video. But one of the ways I know that this has clearly been worth it to do these like 5 shows over these last 6 weeks or whatever, is that I've established reoccurring customers and reoccurring viewers. And I think that's like a long-term, very important thing. Like, shout out, like, you know who you are. You guys reach out to me when you have new things, and you're like, I want you to see this first. I've had a couple people do that, and that like means a lot. That means what I'm doing as a salesman, as a person who wants to be community first, as a business owner. I really appreciate when people are like, hey, I've seen you on YouTube. I want you to see this, or hey, we did a deal last week, and I thought I liked the way you did it. I liked how honest and transparent you were, so I'm going to do all my deals with you whenever I can. That's what that's like huge, and the more that has been happening, has been coming from, it's like the fruit that's coming from all these shows that I've been doing. I've been getting to meet people. I've been trying to learn everyone's names, and I've been going to the shows and getting next to the vendors. There's like, now I'm no longer going to shows worried about who I'm going to be by. I've like known people at all my shows, other than 10 Point. The 10 Point was the first time where I was kind of like isolated by myself, but I got to know my neighbors, and like now I know them, so that's great. So we're getting to the point where I kind of know everyone at the show that's in the Pokemon game, so that's really good. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe. See you next time. Bye.